Like being scared here of dangerous people. You always have to hide. See, go down. Looks like the guy had a gun. Some sort. There's like so many of them. There's like 4 of them. And they're looking at us. They're at me.
This is YouTuber and vlogger Elliot Eastman, and these are only some of the final words spoken by him. Only 2 weeks later, he vanished from social media and stopped responding to all messages sent by loved ones. And none of them could easily get hold of him either, because, well, he had travelled more than 8,000 miles away to embark on a new life in an unfamiliar country. Although this case is now technically considered to be closed and solved, what happened next was, and still partially is, a mystery, depending on who you ask. What was left behind was a story shrouded in secrets, intrigue, corruption, and, sorry Elliot, some terrible decisions. But we all have a story to tell, and I'm here to tell you his. Welcome back to Coffeehouse Crime, folks. My name is Adrian, and before we begin today, this is just to remind you that I post true crime, strange, and chilling stories up to 2 times a week here. So, if that does sound like your kind of thing, please do consider subscribing. And now with all of that said, let's dive straight into this one. Please get comfortable and grab yourself a coffee. This is the case of Elliot Eastman. It was on October the 17th of this year that 26-year-old YouTuber Elliot Eastman suddenly fell silent across all forms of his social media. Now, although Elliot was originally from the United States, he was currently living abroad in the Philippines with his wife, who was native to the country. And so his family and friends back home had no idea what was going on. But when they noticed that he had stopped posting across all of his social media, well, that's when they expected that something terrible must have happened. You see, as a vlogger, Elliot had posted more than 600 videos to his YouTube channel in the year 2024 alone. And this included shorts, live streams, and long-form videos. And so, for him to cut all communication with his family and friends while simultaneously seizing all of his social media, that was extraordinarily out of character for Elliot, and as it turns out, their concerns were totally valid, because none of this was his choice. Elliot Eastman grew up in a beautiful part of Vermont in the small town of Heinsberg. Born in the year 1997, he graduated from Champlain Valley Union High School in 2016. Classmates of his say that he was the quiet and reserved type, but was a good kid. After graduating from high school, he then studied at Ithaca College, which is found in New York State, before then moving back to Vermont. But with Heinsberg being so small and a population of only 900 residents, there really is not much to do here. Not a lot in terms of entertainment or work either. Elliot didn't have many aspirations when it came to his career, and so by the year 2022, he eventually found himself working as a DoorDasher and an Uber driver in his hometown. But after checking out his social media, you can see he's got some pretty cool lighting in his car. In his spare time, Elliot would practice photography and occasionally hit the slopes to ski. And I have to say, he was pretty good at it too. The man really did seem to love nature and animals. But it turns out that the peaceful yet slow pace of life in Heinsberg was simply not enough for Elliot. I mean, sure, it was a very charming place to be, but you can only visit the same lake so many times before it starts to get boring. Elliot wanted to travel the world, have some fun, and experience things far outside of his comfort zone. And so, eventually, he would do just that. Now, I don't need to tell you how big the world is or how vastly different every single country can be, but for whatever reason, he chose the Philippines. We don't quite know what initially caught his interest over there, but his plan was to travel around the country while making videos on YouTube, all while doing it cheaply. And with the average wage in the Philippines only being $300, this was literally 5% of the average back home in Vermont. In fact, Elliot planned to live inside the red zone, which had an average wage of only $200. So, why not? Whether that was a smart idea or not, we'll get to in just a few moments, but Elliot, he had already made his mind up. And so, at the end of 2023, he tied up all of his loose ends, left his job, said goodbye to his family, and boarded a flight to the Philippines. Boarding a flight from Burlington International Airport, Elliot then travelled 8,000 miles to Manila, the capital of the Philippines. Now, I don't need to tell you that life in the Philippines is very different from that in the Western world. Whether you're from Europe, the United States, or even Australia, life in the so-called Pearl of the Orient is different in almost every single way. If you can believe it or not, the Philippines has a staggering 7,641 islands across its territory. And where there is land, you will find the islands to be covered in dense and lush tropical rainforests and mountains, with many lakes and waterfalls dotted in between thanks to its very steep terrain. As you can see, the cities are absolutely beautiful too. Manila is full of things to see and do, including museums, parks, theaters, shopping malls, and a plethora of restaurants to choose from. And it seems that the markets, food, Malaysian and Spanish influences all contribute to a rich yet unique culture. Manila itself is also considered to be relatively safe, so long you exercise a high degree of caution and keep to the well-known areas. However, as you can maybe imagine, things do change the moment you step out of the capital city. Travel into the countryside and things start to get a little hairy. Travel south and you may find yourself in trouble, and then travel to the southern island and then westward, and some will argue that you're looking for death. In fact, many Western government advisory boards urge citizens to avoid traveling to the south at all costs. Smart Traveler recommends that you do not travel to central and western Mindanao, including the Zamboanga Peninsula, the Sulu Archipelago, and the southern Sulu Sea area, all due to the very high threat of terrorism and kidnapping. The UK's FCDO expresses very similar advice, advising against all travel to the central and western part of the southern island. And although the US Department of State's advisory map suggests increased caution across the entirety of the Philippines, it also strongly advises that you do not travel near the Sulu Sea, which, as you can see, stretches around the Zamboanga del Norte Peninsula. Terrorists and armed groups in the Sulu Archipelago and the Sulu Sea have historically engaged in kidnappings for ransom on land and at sea. In addition to this, they are well known for several bombings in the area and other types of attacks. These incidents often target foreign nationals, including US citizens, local government entities, and security personnel. As you can imagine, much like the Australian, Canadian, and British governments, the US government's ability to provide emergency services to any citizens in this region is extraordinarily limited. Other threats include violent protests, robbery, gun crime, scams, drink spiking, and even Mother Nature herself. Typhoons, tropical storms, earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanoes are all a risk here. So essentially, this beautiful country does come with quite the heavy price tag. But for one reason or another, Elliot did not see this advice as enough of a reason to steer clear. He instead took pride in being one of the only Westerners to travel to the Philippines' red zone. As a result, he settled along the coast of the municipality of Cebuco, which, as you can see here on this map, can be found in the Zamboanga del Norte region. It is worth noting that this is well into the red zone and not even close to an orange zone, let alone yellow or green. From the get-go, Elliot was concerned about his safety, and so, during this time, he traveled to see a shaman who was found in the mountains of Cebuco. Some may believe it was through fate, but it was during that time that he fell in love with the shaman's daughter named Carisha Jala. And according to Elliot, it certainly was love at first sight. The two hit it off very quickly, so much so that they would even marry only a couple of months later. By July, they were as official as two can be, and Elliot, he was now locked in with the Philippines. Elliot would stay in the red zone of the Philippines for all of 2023 and 2024, sparing one visit to go back home and make some more money. It was during his time back home that he carved out his social media by creating Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok accounts. And moving forward, this would be his main source of revenue in the Philippines. In addition to this, he would also integrate donation pages into those social media profiles, including PayPal, Venmo, and Buy Me a Coffee. You know, strategically speaking, this was actually a very good idea because a dollar would stretch much further in the Philippines than any Western country. After all, he would only need around $200 to survive. Now, these were not the only ways that he was planning to make some money, as he did have some other business ideas that he would introduce to the local community. However, we'll get to that in a short while, as they were quite risky. On his About page on YouTube, Elliot wrote, Hello everyone, I'm Elliot Eastman. I'm 26 years old and I came to the Philippines about a year and a half ago, where I met the love of my life deep in the mountains of the red zone of the Philippines. Zamboanga del Norte is a recently developed area of the Philippines that was once only accessible by boat. I will be showing you my day-to-day life as the first and only foreigner to have ever lived here in Cebuco for a long period of time. I am from the USA. Elliot began his YouTube career in the Philippines at the beginning of January 2024, posting his first of what would be more than 500 YouTube shorts. The following month, in February, he began daily vlogs on his YouTube channel, and it appeared that he set the tone from the very beginning, titling his video, "Living in the Most Dangerous Area of the Philippines, Red Zone." I do have to say, it does offer a very fascinating view of what life is like in the southern islands of the Philippines, and it would certainly have offered good entertainment to Western viewers if refined and given a better structure.
It's about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. I'm just cooking some dinner. Added some salt and pepper. Krish is gonna cook up some fish, and we're gonna have some dinner, and then tomorrow we're gonna go swimming. It's definitely different here. See this little crack in the wall here? That's the CR. You wouldn't think it's much, but little bathroom in the crevice of a wall. I am renting this apartment here for 3,000 pesos each month, which comes to about $52 each month, around $1.75 each day. And yeah, renting this place. It's very nice. Washing machine. A classic stove. I have a garden here. One mango. For less than $2 per day, I have an apartment with utilities included. Alright, we're out here. The streets of Cebuco. Look, this is my little wife, and she's very disobedient at times, but doesn't really listen to me all the time. So, it's the interesting area.
You already know, but you're
What's this?
Lumpia.
Lumpia?
Yeah. 3 pesos.
The matches.
A lot of his videos are genuinely interesting to watch, and by the way, at the point of making this video, they are still all available on YouTube. They offer raw and unfiltered day-to-day life in a sparsely documented area. And I mean, yes, what he was doing does come with its fair share of risks, but it was special nevertheless.
Check out all these cool boats, y'all. So very different. You know, Wi-Fi right here, but right now it is not working because we don't have enough battery in our solar to make it run. And it's already here at the end of the day. The solar is no battery. And these guys are collecting some wood that drifted on the ocean. What's that? Waves are beautiful and deep. And that is gonna be a wrap for today's vlog. I thought it was short, not much, but it was something. And tomorrow we're gonna be looking at another one. The light is little. So that's gonna be it for today's vlog, y'all. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.
Setting up his shop and home on the beach, he would routinely battle Mother Nature and the ocean, embracing a life that rarely any European or American would encounter.
Everybody, what's 7:38 in the morning. The waves are super huge. Let me show you this. Scary. It's coming in, it's getting bigger.
But Elliot would also face economic issues too. Hardware and electronic equipment such as inverters and batteries would often break on him.
Alright, so we got an update on freaking inverter. Second inverter just fried. It should be good. This is our first one that just fried. And now this is our second one that literally just started smoking. I don't know if this guy set it up wrong or what. Maybe he set this up wrong because this should not hit the second inverter. It's already like fried. This is basically my livelihood here. Like I'm surviving at this point. I spend all my money on this business. So either I get this business running or basically I just go home.
The candid and matter-of-fact way that Elliot communicated with his audience was quite unique. He made no effort to dress the place up and recorded casually as if his viewers were family. All of his live streams, which began in June of 2024, were to bring fresh awareness to his YouTube channel in the hope that he could soon become monetized and then receive donations. He also opened a shop in the summer of 2024, selling food, snacks, and essential items out to the local community. And in addition to this, he also installed Wi-Fi, which he then rented out to customers. As you can see in one of his YouTube videos, he sold household items like toothpaste, cooking oil, and noodles, all at a 30% markup.
Check out my store, you guys. We got canned stuff. What up, Billy? We got canned goods. We got all kinds of stuff. We got our little price list made out. These ones are like 28 pesos. It's charging like 30% markup on everything. Bread. Oh, no, dude. I'm not from the Philippines. I'm from the US, actually. But I'm living here in the Philippines and I'm starting businesses here. And today is our first day. We got our store open. This is our first day opening this store. We've had a couple sales so far, you know. It's pretty decent. It's pretty big size too.
And then this guy chat you like a skeleton.
Skeleton, what? You think I'm dead here?
You're dead.
Nah, I ain't dead here, bro. I'm chilling. I'm good. Nobody's gonna kidnap me, right?
In addition to this, Elliot would also let his wife livestream with him, who seemed to be very chilled out and happy in front of the camera.
Staying skinny. Jog every day in 30 steps. Back and forth, like that. And then go to gym. And then like, look at him. He's like a monkey in a wall. No, I don't know if I'm pregnant or no. They said I'm pregnant. Maybe my husband is pregnant. You too, Queenie. Take care. Thank you so much. God bless you. I don't know, maybe I'm sick.
However, this is where we begin to look at the fear behind not only Elliot, but Carisha too. Because despite this being their home, they clearly did not trust everyone in their community, and we would see this when it accidentally came out in one of Elliot's live streams.
So that everyone who was swimming to a river, everything was swimming with us.
No, I don't wanna go, just only you and me. I don't wanna go, just only you and me.
Why?
I'm afraid.
Are you afraid? How's that any different than telling us something else?
I'm afraid if we don't have somebody with us. I'm scared of I'm scared of people after.
This would also begin a small argument between them over the following minutes, and there were clear signs of a clash of cultures. But of course, with Elliot being the foreigner here, he needed to respect the culture that he put himself into.
No tourists ever come here. I've never seen one. Except for maybe from Arabia or Saudi Arabia or something. Yeah. No tourist has ever visited this area. I'm like the first one who's ever. Well, I think there's been people who have visited, but they only stay like a day. Or they only stay for a quick minute to visit, and then they move on. But me, I've been living here for 3 months. This trip, and in the past, I've lived here for 6. Total, I've probably lived here like a whole year in total in my life. I've never seen any other foreigner here. Because it's dangerous. It's a dangerous area.
Honestly, it sounded like Elliot was consistently worried about his own safety and even played with the idea of going back home to the United States. I mean, he often spoke about it being a real possibility and felt like he wasn't safe in the Philippines.
If I was going to go back to the States to do that, I'd have to get my license. I'd have to renew my license. Maybe I'm gonna go to the States soon, yeah. It's very possible. Obviously, this place isn't the most safe place for, like, somebody like me. Yeah, that's like a smart idea, honestly. Get some quick delivery cash and come back. Not a bad idea, but. At the same time, I don't know if I definitely would want to do things a little different if I came back here. And I wouldn't want to rush over here anytime soon unless I was like ready. It's a 100% flip difference of living. And most Americans probably couldn't live here for very long. I don't think they could, I don't know how, most of them wouldn't really want to deal with this kind of stuff. Max. Most Americans kind of will not handle this kind of lifestyle. They just can't. Because it is 100% a low quality of living, and most people are kind of like okay with it. Like they don't, it doesn't matter to them if it's any better than this. So that's part of the hard part about living down here. Like people don't care to be better. People don't want to try to make their lives better or change things or anything like that.
Through this live stream, he would also talk about how other drivers seemed to swerve into his vehicle intentionally, and how some men would intentionally pee all over the store's bathroom floor, and how people would routinely burn trash around the perimeter of his building.
It's hard because I'm living in the city right now. Honestly, my life here, it's kind of ass, a little bit. If I were to do it again, I wouldn't do it like this. Yeah, it's just hard, like, being stuck in something that's, like, that you're not content with. It's not even that I'm scared, it's, like, the fact, like, the family that I'm living with is scared of me, something happening to me. And then if something happens to me, they're scared that something's gonna happen to them, too. So it's like I'm stuck, listening to what they are telling me what to do. That's the hard part. Yeah, it's just dangerous for me here. It's dangerous here.
He would also create shorts and, in some of them, even complain about his neighbors burning trash and how he can't change the culture around him. And these feelings did not seem to get better over time either. During his live streams, which were accessible to anyone who wanted to watch his videos, Elliot would often talk about his dissatisfaction with his life and the many fears he had around him.
Yeah, it's like I would love to like do stuff that I want to do, but I feel like trapped. I literally feel like trapped. Because if I want to go, even I want to go do something, I want to go walk out anywhere or down the beach somewhere different, like this family is going to get mad at me that I'm living with. They're going to be angry with me. That's the problem I have right now. You know, it's not even like their feeling. It's like the way they feel like maybe they're gonna be affected by something happens to me. So I'm like putting them at risk by me doing something. That's what they're saying. But maybe they're scared that I'm just gonna leave them. Yeah, there's that possibility too. Like if I'm getting kidnapped or something like that. Yeah, there's like criminals. Yeah.
And as you can see here, he then began to wonder if people wanted to harm him.
It's like sometimes I do feel respected here, sometimes I don't really feel respected, so that's the other hard part. It's like I know if I went any other way, any other place in the Philippines or any other place in the world besides maybe the US, because in the US as an American, like somebody like me, I'm just a normal person, right? Nobody gives two shits, nobody thinks anything of it. But if I go to anywhere else in the world, maybe, people are going to treat me good. People are going to treat me nice. For the most part, you know, and at least anywhere in the Philippines, I know that. And if I'm not being treated well, I know I just have to move, so. And then I can find a place where people will treat me well, because I know that's how the Philippines work. But I feel like I've been staying in this area for so long to the point where people, I don't even know if people like me anymore. Maybe they want bad things to happen to me now. It's like, that's how I'm starting to think. So it's like, it's really not good. I don't really know, like, what would happen if somebody did come try to come here and kidnap me, right? Would the neighbors help me, or would they just sit there and watch? Because it's gotten to the point where I've been here for so long that people are, like, have become normalized for me in this area. Especially the family I'm living with, and I just don't know. Like, I get mixed feelings, you know? So it's kind of like people coming here to tell my family that there's people that want to kidnap me, or they're threatening to kidnap me, or stuff like that. Like, every day this is happening. This is like a real life thing for me here. And that's why no foreigners or there's no tourists staying here, because they're smarter than that. But for me, I've been living here, I've been taking this chance. You know, even last night, I'm scared a little bit. I'm scared. And if it comes to the point where it's like, all of a sudden I'm kidnapped and something's gonna happen to me, I'm gonna ask myself, I don't know.
Now, unfortunately, there are many, many more examples of this sort of behavior from Elliot. The bottom line is that he was absolutely terrified about his own safety and well-being, and this would carry on for several months. The sad truth is that being kidnapped in the red zone was a very real and credible threat to Elliot, because, in fact, more than 40 Westerners had been kidnapped in the recent decade alone. In fact, his very own wife would even have first-hand experience of this, because when she was in 5th grade at school, her Canadian classmate was kidnapped for a ransom of $50,000. However, for whatever reason, Elliot did not believe that he could just simply walk away. Maybe he was worried about his wife's safety, or maybe he believed that he could just fight back instead. And now that I've set the scene, you can tell that Elliot was in very dangerous territory, especially now he was creating a business within that local community. And if publicly broadcasting his fears wasn't already reckless enough, he would then go on to create one more business in that town, which, frankly speaking, was just begging for trouble. Moving into the second half of 2024, Elliot decided to step into the loan shark industry, basically giving away free money to the locals, so long they paid him back with 20% interest. Now, not only did this signify wealth and corruption, but he now basically made himself one of the main competitors to all criminals in the area. And need I remind you that being in debt to someone can really play around with your morals too. Quite frankly, this was a terrible choice to make, especially as the only foreigner in the area.
Sige.
I'll go first.
Ah,
Yan na.
may kidnappers mo. Yes, here I am. Like being scared here of dangerous people. You always have to hide. See, go down. Waiting for you.
Focusing on his long-form YouTube videos, you can tell that his overall situation was worsening over time. In this video, which was published on October the 6th, 2024, he was convinced that people were following them and often questioned if they wanted to kidnap him. As he approached the bottom of the hill with his wife and friend, he noticed that the other group of people along that shoreline had guns. So, not only did he feel unsafe in his environment, but those around him seemed to have an advantage too.
Nah. I wonder what they're doing. Maybe they're spearfishing. They're spearfishing. I think these people are spearfishing. Looks like the guy had a gun. Some sort. There's like so many of them. There's like 4 of them. 4 people there. Doing spearfishing.
Although nothing would happen to Elliot or Carisha or their friend on this day, it is worth remembering how uncomfortable she felt about going unprotected to the shoreline. And using Google Maps, I was able to figure out that this was only a short walk away from their home, meaning that even their backyard came with severe risks.
And they're looking at us, or at me. They're interested.
In his third final video, Elliot shared several details about his own personal loan shark business. He talked about the kind of profit he was making from this debt, and how he could flip those profits to more significant numbers from the same people.
The guy who we lent money to, he returned our money. We lent him $21,400 and he came back with $23,500. So a little extra. We sent him back with $35K. Yeah. Should be seeing a little bit extra profit off of this. Maybe in 1 month we'll have already $3,500 profits. You know, business in there. We got our Wi-Fi still running, and then we're working on getting another Wi-Fi going through PLDT.
In his final long-form video, which was his second final video, Elliot talks about the Filipino lifestyle, his wife feeling ill, and doing some yoga to combat the many aches and pains that he was recently feeling.
Boom, we are out. Fresh out of the shower, the cold shower, in the cold and rainy water. It's hard to get used to Filipino lifestyle. It's crazy. Showering in cold water, crazy. So Sweet Pea's still a little bit sick. I brought her some water, but she's still not feeling that well. Hopefully she's gonna get better soon. Alright, so now I'm gonna do some yoga. Got these pains everywhere on my body. Sports in high school, so I'm gonna go ahead and do some yoga not real quick, but hopefully for a while until like I'm either too tired or I feel good. Alright, you guys, it's already late, super late. So that's gonna be the end of the vlog today. I will see you guys tomorrow.
And in his final livestream video, which was streamed on October the 17th, 2024, Elliot mainly sat in silence while he ate food on his kitchen floor. He appeared quite flat and disheveled while answering occasional questions from his viewers. At one point, a viewer asked him, "Are you enjoying the Philippines?" And you can clearly tell in his response that he did feel quite troubled by some aspects.
Enjoying the Philippines? Enjoying it. There's some parts that I like about it, there's some parts that I don't like about it.
He was then asked, "What don't you like about it?"
What don't I like about it? The bathrooms are smelly. They don't smell good most of the times, and I'm just getting tired of like being around all the same people. You know?
He otherwise appeared to be very disengaged with his audience and would eventually turn off his camera without saying goodbye. Tragically, that would be the last time that the internet ever saw Elliot Eastman alive. Only 2 hours later, men disguised as police officers would quietly approach his property. These so-called officers were actually from a splinter terrorist group, and of course, they were there to abduct him for ransom. Elliot resisted his capture, and so the terrorists, well, they shot him in the leg to stop him from running away. Tragically, it is believed that, while being fired at, a rogue bullet accidentally penetrated his stomach. However, instead of releasing him, the militants would then pack him into a motorized boat and then speed away into the night. And, at least for this moment in time, that was all that was known about Elliot Eastman's fate. He vanished into the dark sea, leaving his screaming wife behind. Local police tried to chase the gunman, but unfortunately failed to catch up. It is reported that they fled further south towards the provinces of Basilan or Sulu, an area notoriously bad for terrorism and pirates. When police arrived at the home to investigate, they found a blood smear across the vinyl floor, blood on the sand, and an empty bullet cartridge from an M16 rifle. As you can imagine, Elliot's disappearance created a massive problem for the Philippines National Police Force. When a Westerner disappears under concerning circumstances, especially when it's an American, it can have a significant impact on local tourism. As a result, the local mayor announced a 150,000 Philippine peso or $2,500 reward for any information which may help find him. News eventually got out that Elliot had allegedly died from his wounds while on that boat, and rumors spread that his kidnappers then threw his body out at sea. In a dramatic twist, police were able to locate the group who were suspected of kidnapping Elliot, and then engaged in a shootout, which eventually resulted in the arrest of 4 of those suspects, with another 4 currently remaining at large. Tragically, one of the arrested men then gave a written statement to confirm that the rumors were in fact true. After dying from one of the gunshot wounds, they then threw Elliot overboard. He never made the boat trip back to base, which of course is why they never contacted the authorities to negotiate a ransom deal. Dozens of searches have been carried out along the shores and the nearby islands for his body, but unfortunately, there have been no signs as of yet. Members of the FBI and the Department of State have joined investigators in the Philippines, but so far have found nothing. No ransom demand or proof of life has since been received from any of his abductors, and tragically, he is now presumed to be dead. As a result, the authorities have shifted from a rescue operation to a recovery effort, but it is unlikely that his body will ever be found now that it's been a couple months. Historically, some have, but most never see the closure they need. This story has been a horrific one to cover, and without a body ever being recovered, we do end this one slightly open-ended too. However, given the testimonies from his arrested kidnappers and the statement created by the FBI, I think we can call this one solved. Now, I would love to stand here and say that Elliot was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, but unfortunately, he made some very reckless decisions. First and foremost, I would like to say that Elliot was a bright and kind man who really did love his wife. But moving to a red zone, flaunting your wealth, creating videos about the local community and then complaining about them, and then becoming a loan shark, well, he really did overshoot by quite the margin. To add to that, there were other interesting aspects that I came across too. For example, all Muslim men living in the area must be covered between the navel and the knees, whereas Elliot, he was always topless and wearing shorts. So, put quite bluntly, the way that he dressed certainly did lack respect for the culture that he inserted himself into. To add to that, Elliot posted pictures and videos of his expensive neighborhood in Vermont onto his social media profiles, and anyone who saw that would definitely think that he was wealthy. And finally, Elliot did not seem to be well liked within the local community. Not only that, but he failed to heed the warning signs and get out while he could. And so, tragically, I think I have to say here that this is just another example where you really should follow your gut instinct. Good or bad, if it sounds sensible, just do it. Get out while you can. With no body ever being discovered, I really do hope that Elliot is found safe, alive, and well. However, sadly, this story seems to be over. And with that said, I think I'll end this video here today, folks. Thank you so much for watching today, but before I go, I'd love to hear your opinion on this one. What do you think about Elliot Eastman's decisions? Not only about him traveling and living in the red zone, but his choices after moving there too. And do you think he's still alive and well, or do you think tragically he has been murdered? As always, please share your thoughts in the comments section down below. I'm going to wrap this one up here today, but once again, thank you so much for watching. If you want to support the channel, please do consider subscribing to my Patreon channel here, or alternatively, follow me on social media here. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, then please consider doing so. It really does help me and Nero out. Anyway, folks, that is it for today. I'll see you again very soon for another video, but until that moment arrives, remember to look after yourselves, look after each other, and of course, stay safe. Thank you, and goodbye.